Welcome along to the At the Races web preview for the Vincent O'Brien County Hurdle, one of the biggest handicap hurdles of the week, run on Friday, and plenty of horses to consider in this minefield. 2 miles, 1 furlong. It's a Grade 3 contest, and we'll be getting the thoughts of our studio guest Paul Jones, author of the Weatherby's Cheltenham Festival betting guide, very shortly. But first, here's a look at some of the main contenders.
And it's See You at Midnight who continues to lead. Ticking to Mickey is now hard at work in second. Here comes Regal Encore now, second in the champion bumper, and is moving much closer to the lead here. Down towards the final flight they come. See You at Midnight to Regal Encore, who now jumps it in second. Then Ticking to Mickey in third. Inside the final furlong, See You at Midnight is finding a bit here. See You at Midnight inside the final half furlong. Regal Encore can't overhaul it. And See You at Midnight, a shock in the opener, beats Regal Encore. Then Ticking to Mickey.
Quick Jack making ground up to them on the outside. Then Blacklock, they're coming down now to the final flight. And Gil Gamboa, Flax and Flare on the inside. And Quick Jack at the final flight. Flax and Flare on the inside from Gil Gamboa and Quick Jack. They're inside the last 150 yards. And Gil Gamboa and Mark Walsh in the lead from Flax and Flare and Quick Jack. And running up towards the finish, Gil Gamboa and Mark Walsh will win for JP McManus and Enda Bulger.
At the second last, Cheltenian over safely extending the lead. Now 3 lengths clear of Fergal Mildoon in second. Long gap then to the weakening Ergo Sum in third, and then comes Early Bonnet, and behind them Camptown Lady heading to the final flight. Cheltenian at the last jumps it well. Now 6 lengths clear. Fergal Mildoon is a clear second. The rider has a look behind, sees that the others are toiling in rear. They're still to jump the last, but Cheltenian will get off the mark here over hurdles and will score convincingly, land the odds in impressive fashion. Cheltenian, Richard Johnson and Philip Hobbs take the opener as Cheltenian wins by 6.
Mr. 51 towards the inside. Renetti lands in front of the Tullow Tank. Alonso is towards the outside, but it's Renetti now and Paul Townend who lead them down to the final flight. From on the outside, the Tullow Tank challenging now for Danny Mullins. Couple of lengths to Alonso in third, and over the last, Renetti on the inside, pressed by the Tullow Tank. They're battling it out neck and neck as they go up towards the final 50 yards, and it is the Tullow Tank who's got to win it for Danny Mullins and Barry Connell. Coming down now to the final flight. 1,000 Stars in the lead from Sailors Worn on the outside. Busty Brown trying to rally to get back into it. 1,000 Stars with Sailors Worn coming to challenge the near side. Not much between them. And over the last 1,000 Stars now pressed by Sailors Worn, who picks it up as they race inside the last 150 yards. And Sailors Worn and Barry Geraghty will quicken on to win the Ballsbridge Hurdle. Sailors Worn beats 1,000 Stars.
Well, lots of multiple entries to contend with, but we'll take a look at some of those principles in the betting, starting, I guess, with the anti-post favourite Regal Encore, who we saw there in the form guide, Paul, finishing second, I should say, at Hexham. There were high hopes for him. He was the beaten favourite that day. Bumped into a pretty
He was long odds on that
rival.
day, but, you know, the winner's very good now, rated in the 150s. Yeah. But Regal Encore looks like he's going to go for the Imperial Cup first. He's got to win that to have a prayer of getting in the County Hurdle or the Martin Pipe. So we don't know what race he will go for, but he's got to win it to get in effectively, and it is favourite to win it. Horses have completed the double. We'll have to see what happens at Sandown, won't we? The Yard aren't in great form.
Yeah, Anthony Honeyball's been fairly quiet of late. He's had 3 runs over hurdles, but he's second in the champion bumper, which obviously is
he was, and that's sort of working out pretty well, I think. Yeah. You know, the Liquidators was 4th, and Briar Hill, and they've both won pattern races since. I thought he was given too much to do on his hurdler's debut when beaten by Garde la Victoire. Then they went down for a small race at Plumpton, and then you're thinking, well, they're going for another small race here. So they are looking at a handicap with him. They were talking Coral Cup earlier in the season. No chance getting in the Coral Cup, even if he wins the Imperial Cup, I would have thought. So County Hurdle looking favourite at the moment, but he's got to go and win the Imperial Cup, or we're talking for no reason.
So it's all in the balance at the time of recording for Regal Encore. One of the races flagged up by Paul in our stats guide as often key to this handicap hurdle on the final day is the BoyleSports.com hurdle, which we're going to look at now. And it was won by an Enda Bolger trained runner in Gil Gamboa. And we got Flaxen Flair back in second.
I mean, look at him. This isn't a 2-mile hurdle around Leopardstown, is it? This is something you'd be expecting to see in the National Hunt Chase. It's a very talented horse. Look, for the size of him, he's still a novice. He's going to improve a fair bit more. They're thinking about possibly going for the Supreme. They've got other entries as well. I would have thought this is the obvious race, having won Ireland's effective county hurdle equivalent. There's more to come. JP McManus has got a good record in the county hurdle. The Irish have got a fantastic record in the county hurdle. They've won 6 of the last 7. And they've got a very strong hand again this season. The runner-up Flaxen Flair looks like going here as well, having won the Fred Winter last season when they put first-time blinkers on him. Did wear a visor on the flat, but the first-time blinkers really sharpened him up on the day, and we know how good Gordon Elliott is at preparing one for the day that matters. So both of those are big players in this race. And
he ran an absolute cracker, didn't he, Flaxen Flair, off top weight? But would his rating now be a bit of a concern for you? Is there any cut-off point on that front?
I think it's 142, I think. No, the last 8 winners have all been in the 130s, that's it. So you want to look for something in the 130s, I would say. A couple of those were rated 139, I have to say. But yes, you wouldn't really want to be looking mid-140s onwards.
Yeah, he's towards the top end there. And the next horse we're going to look at, for me, is one of the most interesting of the week. It's Cheltenian, who, of course, we know has excellent form at Cheltenham. Very lightly raced to Philip Hobbs, the former champion bumper winner. And I think this looks a very interesting proposition at 137.
Yeah, I think he is interesting. He was 4th in the Betfair hurdle, and that's been the best British guide to this race. He won the Weatherby's champion bumper very easily. I don't think it was the strongest renewal of that race, but you know, I think you have to think he's still pretty well handicapped in the mid 130s based on his Betfair hurdle run. And since then we've heard things from preview nights, etc. He wasn't absolutely wound up that day. Richard Johnson, this is his best fancy of the week with Fingal Bay, and he's going to go well. Philip Hobbs has won the race twice. He doesn't run many in it, but he's got a great record with those he does.
Sounds good enough to me, Cheltenian. We're going to look at some of Paul's more fancied runners now, starting with a look at Arctic Fire, who was 3rd at Fairyhouse back in December. This was the Royal Bond taking on the Tullow Tank.
Yeah, Grade 1. Novice, Willie Mullins. Willie Mullins has won this race twice recently. He's also got Diakali in this for the same owner, so whether they both run or you know which one will go, this one looks like he's a county hurdle contender to me. Looking at the way he picks up here, you know, he's got a lot of 2-mile pace. He was too far off the back in a moderately run race this day. Look at him finishing really strongly here. He also met trouble in running. I think he could have won that on another day, and then being the Royal Bond winner, you'd probably expect to see him in the Supreme rather than around the county hurdle. So he's undoubtedly interesting for Willie Mullins, who's won it twice recently.
And presumably the better ground. It was too heavy for him
last time.
Yeah,
absolutely. What he wants is good ground and a fast pace to come off.
OK, well, let's take a look at Sailor's Warn now, who's trained by Edward O'Grady. He was a really good winner at Leopardstown in the Ballsbridge hurdle last time out. And at the time, Edward O'Grady said this was his Cheltenham, but he beat Thousand Stars. Surely they'll have a crack.
Oh, do you know, this was the horse I was looking at for this race before he ran here. I was going to watch him like a hawk and see how he did in 3rd or 4th. So I wasn't expecting him to win, and he's won pretty comfortably. I'm surprised they're saying they might not go to Cheltenham, because surely beating a horse of Thousand Stars calibre, he's going to go up an awful lot more than what penalty he's going to get, so he's going to be well in if he goes to Cheltenham. He was well backed for the county hurdle 2 years ago, looked like he was going to win, challenged on the wrong side, got beat half a length. I've thought all season he's been laid out for this, so we'll see if Edward O'Grady and his big punting owner change their mind.
Yeah, they'd have to, wouldn't they, after that performance? He was cruising up there. So we know Arctic Fire and Sailor's Warn are ones you flagged up as particular horses of interest. Anything else, or those the two for you?
The other winner on that card of Desi Hughes is Art of Logistics, I think. Is it
Art of Payroll, and you think he could be in with a good chance?
Yes, he won so easily that he'd have to have a good chance under a penalty.
OK, so Arctic Fire, Sailor's Warn, and do look out for Art of Payroll as well in the Vincent O'Brien County Hurdle.